We're traveling from peak to peak on Whistler's world-renowned gondola, and we'll even show you how it works. Plus, cooking with an Olympian, Julia Murray shows us how to fuel our inner fire. And we're talking about Bear Smart in Whistler. Stick around, we've got all that and much more on this episode of Go Sea to Sky. Welcome to Go Sea to Sky, only on Shaw TV. I'm your host, Heather Butts, enjoying the sunshine at Lakeside Park, a perfect way to spend a sunny summer afternoon. However, if you'd like to cool things off, why not head up the mountain? Cruise along the world's longest and highest lift line on the Peak to Peak Gondola. Sure, it's been around for a few years, but there's a new addition. Now you can take a look behind the scenes and see how the magnificent machine works. You can do that on the new viewing platform. Have a look.
It is what we've named it. It's connecting two mountains. That's the experience here.
It's an engineering marvel. Connecting the high alpine of Whistler and Blackcomb Mountains, the Peak to Peak offers incomparable views, and discovering the mechanics of it all is an experience on its own. Hi, Brent.
Hi, Heather. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
So this is a site that people don't normally get to see.
Yes, this is our the return station on the Blackcomb side, and we're just about to input the cabins.
The 3.2-ton cabins are removed from the main line every night, saving wear and tear on the track ropes.
Now we have to take all the rest that we have parked here overnight. We're going to feed them onto this switch rail, we call it. And this basically lifts the cabins up in the air, spins them in place, and lowers them.
Most of the process is automatic, with motors, pulleys, and pumps doing the heavy lifting, but it does require some manual labor to push each of the 14 cabins onto the initial switch rail. With the cabins loaded and ready for passengers, it's time to experience what every guest is able to enjoy while riding the world-renowned lift system. What do you think is the most spectacular part about this gondola?
Well, I mean, it's everything, right? It's got to be this view.
Spanning 4.4 kilometers, it's the world's longest continuous lift system, and at 436 meters above the valley floor, it's the highest lift of its kind, offering a unique perspective of BC's coastal wonderland.
Once you get past the towers and you're out in the span, it's kind of like you're flying in the cabin.
As you disembark, the experience is far from over. New to the Whistler station is a unique viewing platform, allowing riders a different perspective of the award-winning system.
I think it really enhanced the guest experience. They can kind of go upstairs and look down on some of the machinery and see the inner workings of the lift.
So Brent, we see the bull wheel, and that's sort of the most important piece here?
That's what's pulling the haul rope, which is transporting the cabins to and from Blackcomb to Whistler.
The viewing platform is a self-guided tour with several fun facts and information aids along the way, helping you better understand the mechanics of it all. This added experience will be sure to make your trip across Fitzsimmons Creek even more enjoyable as you capture renowned views while riding a lift just as remarkable. The cabins can hold 24 people seated and another 4 people standing, so grab your friends and enjoy those spectacular views on the world-renowned lift system. Well, it's time now for this week's episode of Go Listen. A lot of the musicians we feature are from Vancouver, but there's a wide array of super talented people all throughout the Lower Mainland. And this week, we're featuring a musician who still lives in his hometown of Mission.
Mission's Jotham Yell released 3 records in 2013, and he and his sister Natasha invited us to hear them play at the Mission Leisure Center racquetball courts, a place they would sneak into and sing when they were younger.
And I'm gonna shoot through my eyes, and I'm wrong. You take time to define love. We just listened to how reverberant it was, and we really liked it. So when this opportunity came around, she was like, hey, why not the Leisure Center? So here we are.
So, well, and you mentioned your sister is performing with you today. Is music something really strong in the Yell family?
Yeah, pretty much. My parents were like musicians, but my sister and I were kind of the only ones who actually played music in the family of the siblings. But yeah, she actually got me into playing music, so you can thank her for that.
I sit back and deny us. Just don't open the door to your heart. You're exposed, you let in the light of another. Better try to retreat to cover.
I used to think I was the best singer in the world, and then I would sing like church hymns like all the time. And I'd sing them to my mom, and she would tell me that I was like really good, like, oh, you sound great. But then we had a babysitter. She came over. I was like, I'm gonna sing for you, you're gonna like it. So she sat down, I sang for her. Like not even halfway through, she's covering her ears and just like, no, like stop, stop. And I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, you're not a good singer. So I stopped singing from that day until like 17 years old. So it was definitely not a scarring experience, but just like an eye-opening, like, oh shoot, I actually can't sing. Maybe
I think that's
shouldn't.
scarring. That counts as scarring.
Well, it was a little like wake-up call, I guess. I guess it did kind of not help so much when I was starting to sing, because, you know, that kind of insecurity. But now I'll just sing whenever, because I feel like it.
Heart like yours, holding on to something for you, holding up until it's you.
With the recording side, I have like 2 albums and an EP that I recorded, and I uploaded those to Bandcamp. And they're just for fun, kind of recorded in my room, layered a bunch of different instruments, all on like free software. But lately I've been doing more of recording other people, other bands. I'm actually going to a school called Nimbus, School of Recording Arts, and it's focusing on the engineering and production side of music.
Gotta make something of this stress, but stress tearing through my core, pounding on the walls of my choice, pounding down the living force.
I do have plans to record some of my own music as well. I've been trying to write some new songs, but most of my creativity has been put into the production of other people's stuff. But I do have song ideas and getting stuff kind of laid out. And I'd like to hire like an actual producer, just someone like higher end kind of thing, just so I can see what it's like to be in the artist's shoes.
His 2 full-length albums and EP are all free downloads at jothamyell.bandcamp.com. In Mission, I'm Paul McClellan for Shaw TV.
You can send Jotham Yale a note on Twitter at Jotham Yale to see what bands he's been working with in the studio lately. Well, if you'd like to see this episode or even our full show once more, you can view our stories online in HD. Just visit youtube.com/Whistler Shaw. Coming up,
Jules Fuel is something that I had to create while I was on the road.
ski cross Olympian Julia Murray shows us the secret to Jules Fuel.
The following are proud supporters of community programming on Shaw TV. Hairstyling and color services for Heather Butts are provided by The Loft Salon. TheLoftSalon.com.
1 in 3 Canadians know someone with Alzheimer's disease or another dementia. I'm one of those Canadians. September is World Alzheimer's Month, and the Alzheimer's Society of BC wants you to get involved. Use your creative ideas, your outstanding talents, and your sizzling passions. We make it easy to create a unique fundraising event or join in someone else's. Do anything for Alzheimer's and help support people with dementia, their caregivers, and research for a cure. Let's get started at anythingforalzheimers.ca today.
Welcome back to Go See the Sky, only on Shaw TV. I'm your host, Heather Butts, hanging out at Lakeside Park, where we've had to step into the shade and take a break from the sun. Now, Whistler is home to many Olympians. This is where they found their inspiration and competitive edge. But it takes more than just on-mountain training. For one ski cross athlete, she needed a healthy diet to help fuel her inner fire. And now, Julia Murray is sharing her secret with us. And it all begins with Jules Fuel. Eat right, feel light. We are talking about energy and food. It all comes together, and who better to tell us than local Whistler Olympian Julia Murray. Thanks for having us to your kitchen.
No problem.
Okay, so we're talking about Jules Fuel.
Yes.
An amazing breakfast cereal that you kind of crafted while you were traveling around the world as a ski cross athlete.
Yeah. I mean, Jules Fuel is something that just makes you feel good in general, and it's something that I had to create while I was on the road because there was a lot of meat and cheese, and I just wanted something that was really healthy and sustained me throughout the day. It's got quinoa, oats, goji berries, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, raisins, and sunflower seeds.
Yummy.
Yeah, so
okay.
No added weirdness and no added sugar at all. It's just raw organic ingredients to start with.
Perfect. And how hard is it to cook?
Super simple.
Okay, show us.
Foolproof.
Foolproof,
so
she says.
All you do is rip the top off.
Rip the top off.
Throw it into a pot.
In the pot.
And then 2 cups of water.
2 cups.
Into the pot. And what I like doing is adding frozen blueberries or whatever's in season, like chopped up peaches or whatever.
Just add a few things.
Just add a few, yeah.
A little extra flavor.
And that's all you do.
That's it.
Bring it to the stove.
And throw it on.
Put it on max.
Lid on the stove
for a few minutes, and then simmer it for 10 minutes.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
All right, so when it's done, we have something amazing like this.
Exactly.
All right, so and it gives you energy.
It gives you tons of energy, makes you feel really awesome. You can do whatever you want for the whole day.
Just because of the ingredients in it?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Lots of superfoods in there.
Do you eat it like this?
Eat it like this with a bit of yogurt and fruit on top is my favorite.
All right,
so
here we have it. So you're gonna make me a little breakfast concoction.
Yes. And this is something that you can just keep in the fridge for up to a week and a half.
So you can mix up a whole batch and just keep it in the fridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one bag makes 6 servings, so you're good for like a busy work week.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And some fruit on top, yeah. Whatever's in season. And there you go.
So like it's kind of like your granola or your oatmeal, but it's better because it has so much energy in it.
It's the protein in the quinoa that makes it low glycemic. So sustains your energy. Becoming a nutritionist right now too. So
I have one question though for you.
Out.
If I eat this, will I ski like you?
Might have to do a few lessons. But yes, why not?
Those come after. Okay, this is delicious. Fantastic way to start your morning. But you can do something else with it too.
Yeah, this is something that I just kind of created because you're coming over.
Okay, let's see it.
So what we do with your leftover Jules Fuel that you have in the fridge, all you do is add a cup of Jules Fuel.
And it's great that you can just leave it in the fridge. You can mix it up ahead of time, and it's always there. You know, if you're late for work or whatever.
Yeah,
it's in your fridge ready to go.
And it's really good snacking too, like just spoonfuls of fuel. So into the mixing bowl,
1 cup.
And then all you do is a 1/4 cup of tahini, which is awesome. It's sesame paste and really good for you. And a tablespoon of antioxidant honey.
Excellent.
So throw that
honey adds a little sweetness to it.
Exactly.
A little bit of added natural sugar for your afternoon snack.
Yep. And you know, you could add agave if you wanted, or even maple syrup I think would work for this.
Okay.
So you just mix this up. You don't need a fancy machine at all. You just
mix up by hand.
Spoon in a bowl.
Okay.
So
mix it away. Mix it into like a nice little paste almost.
Exactly.
Okay, so kind of combining those grains, making them stick together.
Yeah, and this is really good for the summer because Jules Fuel Pops is what I'm gonna call them.
All right, here we have them.
All you do.
All right, your tray is ready to go.
Is put them in here, like so.
Okay.
You probably have to mix it a little bit more.
It's a little messy. Not a big deal.
Like that. And fill the tray up.
Fill the tray.
Put a little toothpick in there. There you go.
That's it.
Okay, and the magic of
TV. Here we go. Julia's stepping aside.
Once you stick those in the freezer.
Stick them in the freezer. And
15 minutes later, it should look like this.
Here we have them.
So we have little Jules Fuel Pops for a hot summer's day.
That's perfect.
And you can get creative too. You could add like spirulina or banana, coconut.
Anything you wanted in your Jules Fuel Pop.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers to a great summer. With Jules Fuel, we energized to do whatever we want. Thanks for showing us how it all works, all these crafty ideas.
You're welcome.
Jules Fuel is available at all Whistler grocery stores, the Pemberton Supermarket, and Nestor's in Squamish. If you want some more cooking tips and tricks, just visit julesfuel.ca. Well, it's time for this week's episode of Big Summer. In northern British Columbia, there's a National Historic Site that only closed in the early 1950s. So here we go, we're exploring Western Canada's final frontier.
Nestled almost 2 hours from the community of Prince George lies Fort St. James National Historic Site. The site was erected in 1806 and amalgamated with the Hudson's Bay Company 15 years later. Trappers from all over spent harsh winters hunting for our national animal.
The beaver was so rich here, so it was going to be profits for the fur trade company. But I imagine it was pretty harsh because they trapped in the winter, because the winter fur is the nicest fur. It's thick, it's on tight, so that's the fur that they wanted to trade.
The fort gets visitors involved with an interactive style of learning the local history.
The buildings are all staffed with costumed interpreters, and they're loaded with information. And your length of stay at the site depends on your level of interest. So you can make it a quick 45-minute tour. Other people have been known to stay for an entire day.
With these unconventional ways of learning, both new and returning visitors get a chance to immerse headfirst into the past.
It's a great place for my girls to learn about the past.
We learn something new every single time we bring our visitors. We bring visitors every year, and we do a different tour, and we learn something new about the historic site. There's always something new to learn, even if you've been before.
It's quite amazing the comments people leave. They remember certain staff members. They got more out of it than they ever thought. They stayed longer than they thought. And to us, that's great. That's what we want to hear.
With each year passing, Fort St. James becomes a crucial place to preserve a piece of the past for the future.
BC was probably the last frontier in Western Canada to be discovered. But it is our history, and even though it's 1806, that's not old in the real world. To us, it is old. Ours has got so many original pieces to it, and once they're gone, they're gone. So they need protecting.
To find out more about Fort St. James National Historic Site, visit Parks Canada online. For Shaw TV's Big Summer in Fort St. James, BC, I'm Casey Pitts.
Now that is quite a sight. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Go Sea to Sky. We'd love to hear from you. Get in touch with us at facebook.com/Go Sea to Sky. Later in the show,
the objective of this project is to give the bear its space by enhancing food supply.
helping bears have a better habitat on Blackcomb Mountain.
When he was only 16, Richard Pierpoint was enslaved in Senegal and taken to America.
All us men have sworn on this petition to fight.
You're an old man. The British Army has militias and trained soldiers.
I fought with the British during the American Revolution.
Take your land and farm it. Leave the Americans to us.
With respect, sir. I was born a free man, and I intend to die one. Your officers fight for land and money. I fight for my freedom.
Richard Pierpoint was one of thousands of black loyalists who won their freedom in the American Revolution. 30 years later, at the age of 68, he petitioned for an all-black unit that would defend Upper Canada during the War of 1812.
The Reebok Spartan Race, a series of obstacle courses that has taken place in more than 60 countries around the world. It's coming this summer to communities in BC and Alberta. For more information on the race and how you can participate, visit them online at SpartanRace.com.
Welcome back to Go See the Sky, only on Shaw TV. I'm your host, Heather Butts, hanging out at the water's edge of Alta Lake. Now, summer is a time to get out and explore on the trail and on the water. So why not cruise the rivers and lakes on something that will give you a fresh perspective? Stand-up paddleboarding. It's one of the fastest growing water sports, and there's a particular board you can use that's truly Canadian.
It's just a completely different view on the water. You're standing up nice and tall, and you're getting to look around, and it's just a feeling like you're walking on the water.
That magical feeling is enhanced when you're paddling on a board you designed.
There's something about making something yourself, that feeling of fixing something or making something yourself and using it. But when I'm out there paddling on my own board, it makes you feel invincible, like there's nothing in the world you can't do.
Jeff Levine's story doesn't really start on the water, rather here in his backyard, where he spent endless hours fixing damaged rental boards used at his Sea to Sky adventure company.
Problem with these paddle boards was they'd always come back constantly dinged up, holes in them, and they just didn't withstand the rental business, you know, unloading out of the cars, putting them onto hard, rocky beaches.
After a summer of fixing boards, this entrepreneur took his frustration indoors. He spent endless hours doing research and hundreds of hours teaching himself how to design a board geared for Canada.
We have cold water. People don't want to be in the water all the time on the boards. We have a rocky shore, so you need a durable board. And so to me, when we were designing the boards, that was a Canadian challenge.
After a winter of designing, he was able to come up with a board durable enough to withstand the rental business and stable enough to encourage high success rates.
I designed the board, so I decreased the angle of the nose rocker and tail rocker, made it 33.5 inches wide, and made it 5 inches thick. So by making it wider and thicker, I've increased the surface volume. By increasing the surface volume, it increases the maximum user weight.
The design complete, Levine found an ethical family-owned factory in China where his board would be produced using 3 layers of 6-ounce fiberglass and bamboo veneer.
It's absolutely surreal. All this time and energy going into designing these boards, and now seeing all the boards being made and being part of that, it was an incredible feeling.
Satisfied with the product, coming up with a name was the easiest part of the process.
I wanted to have a really hip Hawaiian, Californian style name, and talking to my 12-year-old nephew, he said, "Uncle Jeff, don't bother with that stuff, just use a Canadian name, because why don't you call it the Beaver Boards?" And that was it. From that point in time, I didn't think again, that was the name.
Just 4 years after creating his first design, Beaver Boards now offers a variety of shapes and sizes, from 7-foot boards for kids to 11-foot cruisers, as well as an inflatable board for easy transport. And he's recently designed the company's first kiteboard. What started as a small project to create boards for his rental company, they're now offered in Canadian Tire stores across the country.
Who would have ever thought in such a short time I went from being this guy who was just simply renting out a stand-up paddleboard now to a company making stand-up paddleboards. It's just amazing.
That remarkable feeling is what he wants everyone to experience when they head out on the water and explore on a stand-up paddleboard. Here in in Whistler, we're fortunate to share this beautiful space with many wildlife species, but we must do our part to coexist with one another. The Get Bear Smart Society helps us do that with many programs and initiatives. One of their big projects is all about bear habitat management. It's a project that happens every year on Whistler Blackcomb, and we tagged along to see what it's all about.
The objective of this project is to give the bear its space by enhancing food supply where we have enough distance.
The serene landscape of Blackcomb Mountain offers food and shelter to hundreds of wildlife species, but too often these glorious creatures are found wandering from their natural habitat in urban areas, harmful to their well-being.
They're very smart, they're very intelligent animals. They've done so much to coexist with us, but yet as a community we still fall short of our goals of coexisting with this magnificent animal, the black bear.
But early summer projects like this one are working to change that. Get Bear Smart Society and the Whistler Habitat Improvement Team are dedicated to yearly plantings of natural food sources on the mountain and away from human conflict zones.
We're removing mountain ash and blueberries, and we're not planting this and we're not planting that because, you know, it might attract bears to the valley bottom, which is great bear habitat. But at the end of the day, we're still removing a food source for the bears.
Mountain ash typically grows sporadically and in spotty patches in its natural range, but planting a few hundred within one small area will help encourage bears to feed up higher in a quiet mountain space all to their own.
One of the reasons that we plant mountain ash in particular is because the berries do clump together and they ripen late in the fall when bears are entering a stage of hyperphagia, it's called, and it's an intense period of feeding where they feed up to 20 hours a day.
Volunteers have planted nearly 2,000 native plants on Whistler and Blackcomb Mountains in the last 10 years. But this mountain ash may have a little added flavor. It's genetically specific to the area.
We sourced seed from our local area for Sorbus sinensis and sent that seed down to Vancouver, and the native plant nursery down in Vancouver, Peels, they propagated that seed for us, and we've been purchasing it back for them, and I think they have 7,000 lined up for the next few years.
A few hundred meters from the village, the base of the accelerator chair lends perfectly to what these plants need to survive in order to produce juicy berries for bears to enjoy. The area was strategically chosen by Whistler Blackcomb staff, but the project wouldn't be successful without volunteers.
Nights like tonight, when I see so many people, roughly 20 people just show up and sweat it out for a few hours, as many other things they could be doing this evening. They're giving back to the environment, and it's small, but you have to count every drop.
Each of these 300 plants resembles one small step towards a better coexistence, a better future for Whistler bears. There are many ways that you can help our neighborhood bears. Visit bearsmart.com for details. Well, that wraps up this episode of Go Sea to Sky. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.
Retirement Concepts Weather Report on Shaw TV takes you from around the world to across the country to your own backyard. Retirement Concepts Weather Report on Shaw TV gives you the inside information on the outside world daily on Shaw TV.
Join, book, go with Moto, Vancouver's only local car sharing co-op. What's car sharing? It's thousands of people sharing the cost and access to hundreds of cars. Car sharing offers a reliable alternative to car ownership, fits your lifestyle, and saves you money. With 300 cars, trucks, and even cargo vans, Moto offers the lowest rates in Metro Vancouver. And booking a Moto is easy, online or by phone. Join, book, go. Learn more at moto.coop.
Whether you're pursuing a television career or looking for a new leisure activity, we invite you to join the Shaw TV Volunteer Program. You can gain valuable hands-on experience and acquire skills ranging from camera to floor directing. We're looking for high school or college students or adults who are eager to learn. Shaw TV is currently accepting volunteer applications. Contact us today.
We're there to bring it home. Shaw TV, your local voice.